Hi YouTube and welcome back to Danielle's Denture Diaries. I am Danielle and today tonight, I'm going to be talking about a few different things. The first thing is I want to talk about comments under the videos. Just be mindful if you're going to leave me feedback, please leave mature and specific feedback that I can apply to videos in order to make them better and higher quality content for you and for others. If you truly feel a certain kind of way, you're probably not the only one. And as long as you're here for the right reasons, well, I'm happy to hear out your feedback. That being said, just another gentle reminder to be kind in the comments, please. Be respectful. I don't believe in dumb questions. I never have, because I myself ask questions that are, well, sometimes they were already answered right beforehand. So no such thing as dumb questions. All feedback is welcome. And if anything, I will pin your feedback in hopes that you will come back to the comment and maybe rephrase or clarify so that I can learn from it. But at any rate, just wanted to do a quick little blurb on that. And then the next thing I wanted to do is a follow-up. I had posted a video, or I will have posted a video here earlier in the month of January on having dentures when your gums have receded or shrank to a certain point, and would you be able to wear them at that point in time? Or I guess the way I phrase the question is, will there ever be a day or a time where I will not be able to wear my dentures? I firmly stand on that still. What I did find, and I wanted to come back and clarify or add to the conversation, is that if you do go to Google and you type in no jaw dentures, then it will pull up more related to the topic, conversation topics stuff. Words are hard. And essentially what I did end up finding is it provided a little more information, but not too much too different from what I had said. Besides that, they being dentists and surgeons will encourage you to do things, not just implants, but also things called bone grafting. So I've heard of a few different ways and forms that bone grafting can happen. So if you're at that point where you feel you don't have any other answers, you are physically unable to wear your dentures, your gums have shrank to the point of being flat, or whatever the case, maybe go ahead and book an additional consult with your dentist and ask them about bone grafting options. It certainly sounds very intense. My knowledge of bone grafting specifically is pretty minimal. I've heard, well, I saw, I want to say it was on Instagram, someone made a joke, but it wasn't really a joke. Someone, the dentist or the hygienist or whatever doing the procedure on the patient, must have mentioned something about a cadaver graft or something like that. And if I find the video, I'll come back and I'll put it in the descriptions or comment it or something. Maybe I'll include it in a video if I ever find it again. But the patient said, oh, so if this is from a cadaver, may I know the person's name? And the dentist and the assistant more or less just kind of looked at each other in disbelief, like, he really just asked us that. And the person went on to joke saying, well, yeah, what if my face is like haunted? What if it's a poltergeist? And not to poke fun at that kind of stuff. For those of you who are absolutely terrified of that kind of stuff, it's not my intention, just that the video was intended to be a joke, and making light fun out of the situation, I guess. And the person ended up going on to say, I think that it was someone named Tammy. Like, I'm just feeling like it's a Tammy, and I have a Tammy kind of vibe or something like that. And it was just, I don't know. But just wanted to follow up with that. I never want to put information here into the support group and not evolve or update information as I learn it, see it, come across it, read it. But yeah. I was looking for video updates to do for tonight because I am awake and I want to stay on top of posting videos as much as I possibly can. And the video I was looking to do was for other denture platforms. So that's another video that should be coming up here at some point. What I found was that the denture community has grown, and that is phenomenal. And what I mean by that is that since I was in YouTube as the watcher, observer, I don't want to say watcher because that's a Netflix series and it's really good but also very scary. I was washing my face. Yes, I'm still married. Anyway, so back then when I was just watching YouTubers, other people, I wasn't a creator at any point yet. I only found maybe 3 people that were still dedicated uploading videos. There are a couple that I remember as being pretty impactful in my decision making and me having the positivity I had around the procedure and after the fact, but they only posted for maybe a few months and it was like 4 years ago and they hadn't uploaded since, and that was just kind of it. But they were still impactful nonetheless. And as I kept going, I actually found more creators. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, people are actually talking about it and posting about it. And not only that, but they're posting about it in a platform that I myself was able to relate to and connect with, and that personally helped me. So as I was doing that, I realized, one, I'm not ready to create that video because I have some videos to watch. I avoid watching other denture YouTube videos because I don't want this support group to be swayed or changed, or for my style to be adjusted based off of someone else's denture journey. It's great for information, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'd rather find my information by reading it and then iterating it in my own fashion. Yeah. And as I was looking through, what I would like to talk about was inspired by Calin Jax, KalinJax, and the video is called I Regretted Getting Dentures. And that's the only video I watched. The beginning of it, I watched a little bit of the ending. It's a 15-minute video, so not that long to watch, but I feel like I kind of got the gist of it at least. If you guys want me to watch the whole thing through and comment on it, yeah. What I'm not here to do is I'm not here to critique or become a commentator for other denture channels, because this needs to be as positive as possible, and I think the more we can all steer clear of putting each other down, the more that people can bounce from one person to another, to another, to another, and actually get the full information and the full story from different perspectives and find their place they want to be at, or places. So anyways, the point is that I did not watch the whole thing through. It's a little bit late at night here where I'm at, and I do have to go to bed and get up for work. So, but I was curious because it said I regretted getting dentures. This person is a very pretty human, and I had not seen any of her videos before, so that got my interest. And it looks like there's a older video side by side with a newer video as the thumbnail, and I always love looking at comparisons, and I loved looking at it from the beginning of my journey to this day. I like looking at celebrity dental work before and after, Tom Cruise being one of them. But anyways, in the beginning, she talks about how when we get dentures, or at least when she and I got dentures, I can relate to this, is you go through this moment of, she says regret. I don't call it regret. That's a very permanent kind of label for how I felt, versus I knew how I was feeling was only temporary. It sounded like when I watched her video, she felt as though the decision and the regret was permanent. In her older video. Now she does, in her newer video as she's reacting to it, kind of like I have to my old privated videos, she says, I got over it fast. So that leads me to believe she doesn't regret it anymore. It was only a temporary feeling. In the moment, though, it felt very permanent. Like that this was going to be something she just was not going to be happy with. I mean, she was not thrilled. And what I wanted to talk about here is that when I watched the video, one, the title got my attention. I regretted, past tense, getting dentures. So in watching it, I mean, it was pretty much what I expected. Again, it wasn't regret for me. It was, I guess, a version of second guessing, but it was more so shock for me. For her, it was the swelling, it was the dentures, it was the teeth, it was the everything. For me, it was my biological teeth are all gone. The crowns that I would rely and lean on so heavily to look normal are gone. And instead I have these two pieces of plastic and porcelain in my mouth. And yes, I can talk, and maybe at some point I'll be able to sing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to eat. But again, even then I knew it was temporary, because I knew the swelling would eventually go down. I knew eventually I would get to a point where I would practice eating, I would practice talking more. I do talk for a living, so I didn't give myself a choice except to wear them, take them out when I needed, do the saltwater rinse, heal, get back on the horse, and move. That was my option. And at the end of the video, she's talking about things like don't be discouraged and that kind of stuff, and that's where I kind of left the video off. So it ends in a high note, and it ends with her encouraging denture wearers to practice talking and eating with them so that they can eventually become more natural to you. And I just wanted to talk on it more here in this video because it's a reality. And I've talked about it on this channel before. What I've noticed in the comments is that there's a lot of people here in the community who are very close to setting up the extraction. They're very close to getting dentures, or they've just gotten them here super recently. And for me, getting dentures was the answer, and I knew it would be. I knew it. What I did also know is that I would second guess myself, because that is what I do. I second guess myself in a lot of things, and I undermine myself. So I created those private video entries where I showed my crowns falling apart. I opened up about how they've affected my life. And when I was in those moments, I watched those videos. I looked at the pictures and the screenshots I took of those videos because I needed to hit myself with the reality, my own personal reality. For you, it's going to be different. For everybody here, it's going to be a little bit different. My biggest thing that was impacted is my seemingly inability to, one, do my job well, and more importantly, I couldn't even confidently smile at my baby at the time. He's still a baby, but besides the point. So for you, it's going to be different. There's this thing at my job that we talk about, and it's called your why power. It's your reason, it's your purpose, it's your mission. And I have a couple of them for different circumstances in my life. The way I hold my relationship with my now husband, I have a why power to it. Why do I do what I do for a living? I have a why power to it. Me getting dentures and going through with the process and not looking back, I have a why power. For example, mine for work is, I've talked about my mom here. She passed away when I was 17. She unalived herself, I guess is the YouTube thing to say. And that was hard. And it took me years and years and years and years and years and years before I started putting together any kind of an understanding as to what could have happened and what was going on in her brain. Personally, I could never imagine leaving my child on this planet without me. I can't not be here for him. So to think about my mom, it was hard. And then when I got my job's mission, my company's mission statement is to improve the self-esteem of the community around it, one person at a time. That's a very impactful statement for me because, one, it applies here. Two, if my mom would have had any more confidence and belief in herself, maybe she would have gotten out of an abusive marriage. Maybe she would have sought help and not felt bad for it. Maybe she would have been a little more honest about where her life was and stopped putting on a facade for other people. And maybe she would be here to this day. So, the reason I do my job, my mom. If someone had invested into her the way I hope people understand I invest into them and care about them, she would probably be here. My why power behind getting dentures is my son. To have pictures of me smiling with him, big cheesy smiles, home videos where I'm laughing with him. That is my why, because I know what it's like to be without my mom and to not have very many pictures or videos. Why would I want that for my son? One day when I'm not here, which is never going to happen, I'm going to live forever. So, document where you're at in life. Or if you just got your dentures, write it down in a journal. List out all the ways that your life had been impacted before you got the dentures, and then list out all the ways you are going to manifest that dentures will help and why they are the answer. And figure out your why. Why bother? Why do it? You could keep sitting here suffering like I did for several years. So why change now? Well, I didn't make a decision beforehand because why should I care about myself? That was my own personal mental and emotional struggle. But then I had my son, and you know what? I might not care the best or the most about myself, but I'll tell you who I do care about is my son's mother. He deserves the best mom. So here I am. And something else that I want to encourage you guys to really think on is the temporariness of the recovery from a full extraction or whatever the case. The pain, I promise you, will be temporary. The adjustment period, it will take a while. Maybe it won't. It's temporary. Your initial shock, if you're like me, it's there and it's temporary and it's okay. The swelling, it's a lot. It is a lot. It's very intense and it is temporary. The fact that you will have a smile that works, that does the job, it's going to be beautiful. You got this. You will go through the bouts, you will go through the phases. There were, for me, numerous nights that I cried. Absolutely. I absolutely cried. And looking back in the mirror, in the bathroom when I would go to rinse out my dentures, I had to keep the lights off. I had to leave on either a candle or a small lamp, like a night light. I needed the light to be soft and at least somewhat flattering. Because for me, looking in the mirror was just way too shocking. To check my stitches in my gums was a lot. And taking showers, I left the lights off. Again, with that nightlight or whatever, because I needed that softness and I needed that grace. I needed that forgiveness on myself. And that's what that did for me, which is very strange to say, but it's true. It was therapeutic. It allowed me to slowly open my eyes to what was in front of me because it's hard. It's really, really hard. What I also cannot forget is that I went home after my procedure. I was in bed and I had taken my painkillers. So I was comfy. And I started singing the ABCs. Because I could finally enunciate and leave my mouth wide open and not one single tooth would fall out. My son climbed into bed with me, and I don't think he realized what was happening at the time or what had happened, but I sat there and just kept talking and talking and talking until my face and my jaw could not take anymore. Because I was just so happy. Because I kept my mission in the front of my mind. Someone in the comments had said that they've had this best friend who had been supportive of them and they want to show their best friend their smile. And that's so beautiful. It's so powerful. And yes, it sucks to know that your dentures, you waited this long, and the first thing you notice when they're put in your mouth is, no, do they fit perfect? Absolutely not. I had to go back to my dentist probably 6 times and have him continue shaving things down and shaping things out for me before I was fully happy and satisfied. He had to shave the inside of my bottom denture. He had to carve out a little more right here. He had to shape this part right here down so it wasn't way up here in my eyeball. He had to shave down the 2 back corners on all 4 edges of my dentures because they kept clacking and I couldn't close my mouth all the way. He had to shave off some down here so it stopped digging in right here where it feels like you might as well put a fish hook in my mouth. Yes, the dentures suck at first. That is a huge change for you. And it's a lot. And to top it off, no one could have anticipated how your gums or your surgery or anything would have turned out. So you tell your dentist. You update it. You let him know how you're feeling. Just make sure that once you make a decision, you truly want to stand by it. And my dentist would ask me every single time, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I would tell him, I've been dealing with this same exact spot for 2 weeks now, or a week and a half, or whatever. This clearly needs to go. My gums are shrinking at this point. They're not swollen anymore. So he'd shave it. He'd put it in, and I would thank him so much. I always left there happy after he made the adjustments. I'm happy to this day. So make the adjustments. Practice eating with something soft. Get in your nutrients. Do not practice chewing while you are hungry. Fill your stomach first with whatever you can, then practice chewing with something else. After your stomach feels full, satisfied, whatever. Another reality is that I could not close my lips all the way at first. They were like this all the time. I could not close my lips. It took not only the shaving down here and here, but also my dentist. I went in, and I won't be able to forget this. We didn't do anything during the appointment except I sat down. He said, okay, what's going on? And I told him, I cannot close my lips. And it feels really awkward because I talk for a living, and I'm sitting there listening to you while you're trying to talk. It's just weird to me. It was awkward because I don't normally look like that. So he grabbed my mouth and went, and he just kept doing it. And he said, the issue isn't the denture, and there's nothing I can do to fix this. This is you. You need to practice and really reevaluate what it feels like to fully close your mouth. So I did for like 2 weeks as a conscious effort, and here we are. There was a point in time where, just like the other YouTuber had said, I couldn't open my mouth all the way because everything was still swollen and healing, and it hurt. So, besides the other kind of side notes and the disclaimer in the beginning, the whole point here is getting dentures a picnic? No. Is it a walk in the park? Absolutely not. But now you look good taking pictures in the park, I'm just saying. If it was great and wonderful and perfect, everybody would be doing it. Every single person would be doing it. Just like a lot of things in life. But you know what? I knew this was the right decision for me. Leah Juju in the comments, I know you're out there somewhere. My gosh, you guys. Some of the victory stories here. All of them. It's incredible. It is incredible. My biggest hurdle was that my bottom denture wouldn't stay in place. Someone else asked me about that. All it took was me being headstrong and stubborn. Because my dentist, if you watched one of my previous videos, he told me, oh, don't worry about it. Don't wear your bottom denture. Almost no one does. What do you mean? What? So I'm going to go home and I'm going to have these two beautiful dentures, a top and a bottom, and I'm only going to wear one of them on purpose. Why would I do that? That's like me getting half my nails done and not the other half. Like, no. And I told him, I was like, okay, you know what? Thanks. Thank you. Because I had to realize that his job only goes so far into this journey. Is it a huge part of it? Absolutely. Did he facilitate the process? Of course. Is he a bad person? No. Never. I just had to realize that I needed to draw the line in my journey between where people said reality is for them and their personal experience, and where do I set the reality for myself. And here's the reality. I'm going to wear them both. I'm going to wear them both all the time because I know what it was like to live without them. So I tried all kinds of different adhesives. I had him reshape them and fix them and shave them until I was happy. And now every time I go into the dentist, he's surprised. He's like, wow, you're wearing them like into the office. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, you're talking great. And I'm like, thanks. It's because I freaking care about doing this. I want this. This wasn't meant to be a tangent, but the person's video, it struck a chord with me because, let's be honest, as much as I hope people, everyone here, turns out to have a positive frame of mind around their dentures or their loved ones' dentures or whatever it is, it's not easy and it's not always going to be pretty. The process is a lot and it's intense and it's heavy. It's a whole new identity for yourself almost. And I mean, don't get me started on your new sense of self-image, which I'm also going to talk about that here soon. I looked nothing like this, in my opinion, before I got my dentures, and thank God. What you guys are seeing and listening to right now, this is truly the best version of myself. Step 1 being with my son. Step 2 is having these dentures. And right before that, my job. And since all of those, now having a loving, supportive husband that knows how important this journey, this support group, you guys are all to me because I talk about it all the time. All right. I think I've made my point. It was just a very real moment for me where it's like, oh yeah, it's not sunshine and rainbows. It's intense. It's tough. So, okay, I'm actually going to stop now. I'm going to stop. If you have any questions, if you need any tips or advice, please drop them in the comments. I am here for you. Again, something Radiant Brit had said in one of her videos, probably one of her old ones that I just watched recently because I don't know. But something she had said was that on channels she would watch, she felt like when she would leave questions, leave comments, she was talking into an abyss. Like, what was the point? I took that to heart. I don't want that to be the case here. It's a support group. And we all have one common theme. I want to help with it. There are other people in this group, I'm assuming, who want to help you. The community here is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'm doing it again. If you like videos like this one where we talk about the, mental and emotional side of getting dentures, the realities, plus the upsides to it, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to this support group, and if you'd like to see more in it and be a part of it, go ahead and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.